You hear a lot about Freemasonry, all the mystery and secrets, right? But today, we're going to do something a little different. We're not trying to expose anything. Instead, we're going to take this single Masonic book from 1855 and sort of decode its structure to understand the intellectual and philosophical journey it lays out for its members. Okay, let's dive in. So our whole investigation kicks off with this symbol right here, found within the pages of that very book. It's pretty intricate, kind of abstract, and you just know it's a piece of a much bigger puzzle. You could say it's the end of a journey, but to really get what it means, we've got to go all the way back to the start. And that brings us to the big question, right? We're basically going to treat this old book like an architect's blueprint. We'll follow its structure step by step to see exactly how it was designed to build a 19th century Freemason, from the ground up.
So here it is. Our main piece of evidence is the book itself, published way back, over 170 years ago. It's like a time capsule of how they thought back then.
And this, right here, is our map. Yeah, at first glance, just a simple table of contents. But if you look closer, the order of these lectures, it's not random at all. It's a very deliberate curriculum, a step-by-step guide. This is the blueprint we're here to figure out. So where does a journey like this even begin? Well, the blueprint tells us it all starts with the foundation. And by that, I mean the history of Masonry itself. The idea is, before you can understand what it is, you got to know where it came from. Okay, so the first real stop is Lecture 8. And what's interesting is it doesn't just state a fact, it actually poses an inquiry, that's the word they use, into the union of two different kinds of Masonry. And that framing is so important, right? It's about investigation, not just, memorizing stuff. And right away, the blueprint makes this really key distinction. On one side, you've got operative Masonry. Think of the original craft, the medieval stonemasons, the guys who were literally building cathedrals. Then, on the other side, you have speculative Masonry. That's the modern system that takes the tools and the metaphors of stonemasonry to build a person's character and teach moral philosophy. So the blueprint is basically insisting that a Mason has to get this shift, this move from building structures to building people. All right, so we've got the historical background. But where does all this speculative work actually happen? Well, the blueprint points us to the next logical place, the physical space, the lodge. And sure enough, Lecture 10 is all about the lodge itself. I'm talking the layout, the furniture, even which way it's oriented, all of it matters. The blueprint is showing us that the physical room is deliberately designed to be like a container for all the philosophical work. It's a stage where the lessons are taught. But of course, a space is just a space without a process, right? So Lecture 11 comes next, and it lays out the rhythm, the flow of what actually happens inside that carefully designed room. There's this really distinct, almost cyclical flow to every single meeting. And here's how that rhythm breaks down. First up, you have the opening. That's the formal ceremony to get things started. Then, step 2 is labor, which is the main work of the meeting. The rituals, the lessons. After that, the closing, another formal ceremony to wrap up the work. And finally, number 4, refreshment, which is exactly what it sounds like, a time for fellowship, for social connection. See that pattern? It's a cycle, structured work followed by community. Okay, so we've seen the history, the space, and the process. But why? What's the ultimate goal here? What's the reward for all this structured labor? This is where the blueprint leads us right to the philosophical heart of the whole thing. And Lecture 12 gives us the answer, right there in the title. The reward is getting to experience the beauties of Freemasonry. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds a little vague, right? What does that even mean? Well, luckily, the title itself explains a bit more. Yeah, so here's the thing. These beauties are not just pretty ideas. The text says they are judiciously selected, so they're carefully chosen. They're rationally maintained, which means they're logical, they're systematic, and maybe most important of all, they are highly advantageous. They give you a real, tangible benefit. This isn't just philosophy for its own sake. It's a practical system for improving yourself. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you actually access these highly advantageous beauties? How is this knowledge unlocked? Well, the final phrase in that title, it gives us the key. And here it is. The benefit, the advantage. It comes to those who are versed in their moral and symbolic references. What that means is understanding comes from being able to read the language of symbols and connect them back to moral lesson. And look at that, we are full circle, right back to that mysterious symbol we started with. This is the mechanism. The whole system, the history, the lodge, the rituals, it's all designed to teach a moral and philosophical language, and it does it through concrete symbols, just like this one. It's how you make these big abstract ideas tangible, memorable, and teachable. So what have we actually decoded here? We've traced a path, right? A journey that moves from history to a dedicated space through a structured process, all designed to unlock a system of moral philosophy using symbols. That was the blueprint for a 19th century Mason's journey of self-improvement. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What can this kind of highly structured approach to personal growth tell us about our own, more modern search for meaning?